to you, boys, 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and the work won't stop. I said, hey, working day ain't done.
I'm Kevin Sekhani, and I'm a singer-songwriter that occasionally holds an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar, depending on how angst
Awesome.
the tune is.
How many records have you recorded, Kevin?
Ooh,
Roughly.
I've probably done about 8 or 9 records, and probably half of those have come out.
Yeah.
Others, I tend to shelve a lot of records that I make and record, and next thing you know, years later, somebody, what about that record that we did?
Right.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So, yeah, I've made quite a few records. I really love the recording process, and
Excellent.
I enjoy studio stuff.
Where's hometown?
Born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, went to high school in the North Shore in Covington. And as soon as I got out of high school, I spent another couple of years in Lafayette and then moved to Austin, Texas, which I spent about 21 years there.
Awesome.
Living and learning and getting a intense musical education in Austin, Texas.
Very cool. Notable people you've played with? Share the stage.
Yeah, I've played with a lot of really cool people. I've played with David Grissom, the Double Trouble guys, Tommy Shannon, Chris Layton, Charlie Sexton, David Holt. We've shared the stage with Brian Setzer. One of my mentors in the songwriting realm of things was Bill Carter. When I first moved to town, Bill and I met totally unrelated musically, just met at a New Year's Eve gathering and hit it off and as friends, and realized that we had something in common, which was music. And he's a tremendous writer. He's done Caught in the Crossfire for Stevie Ray Vaughan and Why Get Up for the T-Birds, and the list of songs is endless. And we started writing songs, which, it was just me really watching him write the first, few months, where he then said, you're going to have to contribute something here. I'm like, yeah, how do you contribute, with a writer like that? But, he was an incredible mentor.
Yeah.
It made it very comfortable, and really, it helped me tap into what it was that I wanted to say as a songwriter, and helped me find various ways to say it. So that was a very incredible experience and incredible knowledge that you gain from someone like that, because it's not really teaching at that point, it's just you're kind of hanging together and you're just doing things together.
You shared the stage with Vince Gill recently too, correct?
Well, Vince, Gary, who plays bass with us, did the Time Jumpers thing. When we went and played in Nashville, they had gone the day earlier and got to hang with Vince and see the Time Jumper show. Recently, we did Ricky Skaggs. We did a festival with Ricky in North Mississippi, and it was incredible. When you're backstage and they're warming up, and they're warming up in true bluegrass fashion. There's no microphones. They tune and they roll. And they practice they get their harmonies down and make sure they're tight for the evening. And you're standing like 5 feet away from that. It's a pretty amazing experience.
Who's some of your influences, Kevin?
Ooh, I'm all over the map.
Question.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Well, the great thing is I'm a lover of song. And so, heavy metal songs, if they're great songs, it makes no difference to me. I'm a huge David Bowie fanatic. Prince, the Stones, the Beatles, but if you heard what I did, it really is sounds nothing like any of them, and it's probably a combination of all of them. I've made various styles of records, a genre jump constantly, which I think is probably a detriment to my quote-unquote career, because you typically need to make the same record twice and just improve, But I'll go and make a headphones record that's so out there, like, Sgt. Pepper on Acid, that alienates anybody who would have liked
Right.
the last thing I did, and then the next thing I do is more of a bluegrass roots thing, or not even that, because I mean, I couldn't necessarily make a traditional bluegrass record, because I mean, I have to go and screw with the recipe somehow, you know.
What would you say to up and coming musicians? What advice would you give them?
There's a whole lot of advice that I could give, and there's probably a whole lot of advice that people wouldn't take, because I mean, it's kind of your own path that you get on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I heard the songwriter person that I'm incredibly in awe of his work and him as a person. Jimmy Lafayette once said, "Last man standing wins."
Yeah.
So keep standing is I guess the only thing I could say in terms of the broad part of what it's like to be in the music business. There's all kinds of things I could, you know, say about publishing and, you know, owning your own publishing company, which is a simple thing to do. You just got to put in the time to do it, you know, and things like that, and getting the right PR person, very valuable.
What's PR mean to those that are not sure what that means?
Well, you need a public relations agent, because it's very, very difficult for me to go and tell all you guys and all the papers and the club owners that I'm fabulous. It just doesn't ring, you know, I mean, it's a very difficult thing to do. And I don't like to do it, because, I mean, you know, I mean, how credible is that for you to talk about yourself and say, well, man, give me a shot? Because they either seem like you're begging, or I mean, you know, it's an overcompensation business. I mean, we have to overcompensate a lot to get jobs and to meet other musicians and say, hey man, we'd be great opening for you, please give me a shot.
Yeah.
You know, and what I found is that the business doesn't really operate that way. The business, you know, we can make friends and share evenings together and gigs together, but when you have representation, and when you have either a management company or a manager or a PR person, a public relations firm or person behind you, they do all that work for you, so that you can just concentrate as much as solely possible on being the artist, where you're writing and rehearsing your band and all of those things. So it's a very, very important thing. You know, I always wanted to put my you know, horse after the cart. And record deals and all, and man, it just doesn't work that way. You know, people always said, man, make sure that you made a splash, and basically it's a wave. I mean, you just got to make that. You got to keep up until you get that wave high enough. Well, and that wave is people. As Jerry, anybody in here that plays music, you know, or out there that plays music knows, it's really all about the people. Because the more people you get at your shows, the more any of the business people start to notice, because we do it for art and we do it because we love it, and most of us would probably say we do it for free, even though, you know, the things like bills that we can't do it for free.
Right.
But, you know, there is a business to it, and it is crazy as the business has gotten, where it's difficult to sell records these days, or CDs. You know, there still is people that will want to get behind you, that know that you're generating revenue. The clubs won't have you if you're not selling beer, you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
You got to sell beer, you know, if you play honky tonks, or if you play, you know. There's some in some genres of music, you know, folks aren't drinking a whole lot of beer, you know. So I mean, you have to find these venues that can exist without having to depend on heavy bar sales. So there's a million things, you know, that I could run down the checklist as to, you know, what to be conscious of when you're starting to do your music thing.
Where can people find out more about your music? Website, Facebook address?
I have a website. It hadn't been updated in a while because there hasn't been a whole lot of action in a while, but it's kevinsekhani.com.
Okay.
And through that, there are all kinds of different Twitter and Facebook pages.
There'll be links
that's
there.
all on there.
Excellent. And finally, what would you say to a student or family looking to enroll at the Music Academy of Acadiana?
I would say if your child is showing any kind of interest in music, and yes, I would definitely enroll them, and I would enroll them. This is a fabulous place. I mean, I know all the people, the owners, I know so many of the teachers. They're all top notch. They are all knowledgeable, beyond skilled to service, you know, the community of young and old, because you're never too old to learn.
We have students of all ages.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I know guys that are in serious bands that go in and take lessons, and I mean, you're never too old to learn.
His guitarist who worked with me for a few years, Greg.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very important. I mean, it's the greatest thing because you'll learn the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And like I always say, you know, if you have that ability to do that, you're never truly alone.
Yeah.
Because you always have that you can keep your company. You can keep yourself company. You can play for others. You can share in with others, and it's a very important thing. So yeah, if there's any kind of interest, or if you want to just try something out with your kids, I mean, you know, keep them busy doing things. What a great thing to do is to learn the craft of music. You know, it's such a great thing, and it's been incredibly good to me, and it's been incredibly good to many, many people. You know, so I mean, I would say, please do. Please give these guys a call.
What's our place called?
The Music Academy of Acadiana.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate it. You say Music Academy rocks?
Oh, Music Academy rocks. Big time.
Thank you, man.
Oh, thank you.
Rock on.